Hey there everyone, this is Cosmic Crypto, the DeFi Degen, coming to you with my very first video. My purpose in this video is try to explain what an automated market maker is and why decentralized finance relies on these versus order books, and how moving forward this type of thing is probably going to be more common than not. All right, so a traditional centralized exchange like a stock brokerage, or in this case Coinbase, they have what's called an order book, and it changes quickly as the prices move and people buy and sell. There are people that are posting prices to buy and sell, and so it's kind of it's a fake, really, because just because someone's posted a price that they're willing to buy or sell doesn't mean they'll actually do it. I mean, if someone takes that order before they can remove it, then that's fine. But they can remove it at any time, and if no one's taken the order, then there's no risk there. So it's not a true gauge in that respect. But it is better than nothing, I suppose. That being contrasted with an automated market maker where there is no order book, and there are other mechanisms in place to keep the price action as it would be in whatever the agreed upon price is. So that gets into a little bit about why it is this way. And they did try to implement order books in DEXs, and it just didn't work. And it has a lot to do with just the speed of blocks, and there's a lot of technical reasons, but they have gone this route for, number one, the speed reason, and number two, there's a problem called the Oracle problem with smart contracts, where you can't trust data that is not on chain. So there are solutions to this, but like Chainlink, for instance, has price data they provide that can be reliable, and smart contracts can pay to consume that data. But automatic market makers don't need to pay anyone. They just rely on the action of the prices within their pairs or set of tokens that determines the market price. So there was actually Vitalik first wrote about the idea of an automated market maker, and there was a project called Bancor that came along and ended up having a breach and lost money, and they didn't last. But Uniswap came along shortly after that, and they are still around, and I'm going to talk about them more later. They're definitely one of the stronger names in this space. There's also some more. One I want to mention, Kyber Network, is more centralized, meaning that they decide, like with Uniswap, anyone who wants to provide liquidity can do so and kind of list their own token, essentially. With Kyber Network, that's not the case. You have to be approved, or the token pair has to be approved. And not only that, even to provide liquidity, there are minimums. So $20,000, $50,000 to provide liquidity, whereas in Uniswap, there's no minimum to how much liquidity. You just have to provide 50% of each. And then there's a project called Balancer that is more. They can do up to 8 tokens, I believe, now, and they do a little bit different kind of AMM, and there's a lot of cool stuff happening with Balancer. But we're not going to talk much about their automated market making, but they do have an automated market making, and they have, rather than pairs, you can provide up to 8 tokens and whatever percentage you want. And there's the fee on Balancer is variable. With Uniswap, it is a set 0.3% fee. And Curve Finance is another one that's been around for a while, and they only deal with stable coins. So like USDC, DAI, that sort of thing. And there's also MStable that deals in stable coins. And is there any other ones? That's all I really want to mention, I guess. So again, all these are ERC20 tokens, and Uniswap has actually recently provided more, or had more volume than even the centralized big DEXs like Coinbase and such. All right, so what Uniswap does, there's different ways you can go about this automated market making, or the automated market making. Uniswap came up with this, well, they implemented, and so did Bancor, this constant product market maker. And in that, you essentially are always just trying to keep a function constant. So what happens is, and this red line would be the I guess the price of one asset relative to another. So as long as, and this is where what the concept of slippage comes in. So the more liquidity that is in the pool, the larger orders can be accommodated with a minimum amount of this slippage, because what happens as people buy up more and more of one thing and leave less and less of the other, then the assumption is that the price went down on the thing that there's more of in the pool and up on the thing that there's less of, if that makes sense. So the more, if someone comes in and tries to place an order, for instance, for all the tokens in the pool, then the price would go to infinity. So you're probably not going to want to do that. But anyway, it keeps the bounds of the price just becoming so expensive on either end is what keeps things in line. So I don't know if that's easy to understand or hard to understand, but essentially the math wants to keep the thing, well, there's always 50%, and the price difference is what makes the change. And so you can get where these things look out of balance, because like one asset will change a lot in price relative to another, and that's called, like, if you're a liquidity provider in that circumstance, that kind of loss where one of the things just loses a lot of value relative to the other is called impermanent loss. So you'll end up with more of that token that you is worth less, which if you have a long position, if you have a long outlook on it, then that may be a good thing. I've had cases where I've let that happen just to just get exposure to a long position, kind of at a constant price buy is the way I looked at it. So it's interesting. Providing liquidity is a pretty fun thing to do. The risk outside of the impermanent loss risk is really not that bad, because you would have lost that anyway. I mean, it's a little bit bad because you do lose. There's an expense involved with the token, I guess, the other token in the pair. But if you think about it from the perspective of just holding that particular token, then it's really not that bad, because you would have lost anyway. And we know that crypto is a game of ups and downs. So I'll put these articles in the description below. Again, this is my first video. I hope you liked it. I'm just going to try to do videos on some sort of constant schedule to explain different aspects, or maybe talk about projects I like and that sort of thing. So I hope this was useful. Give a like if so, and I'll see you next time.